Hi, I'm Arif Hossain, and this is my research proposal titled The Impact of Financial Stress on the Workplace Well-being and Productivity of Bangladeshi Migrant Workers in Selangor, Malaysia. Selangor is Malaysia's most industrialized and densely populated state, and it hosts the largest concentration of Bangladeshi migrant workers in the country. Most of these workers are employed in urban service sector jobs, such as retail, food service, car washes. And the vast majority arrive already carrying significant recruitment debt alongside constant pressure to remit money home. That combination, a large, debt burdened, revenue driven workforce concentrated in one urban industrial hub, is what makes Selangor a distinct and important setting for this research, rather than just one example among many. Most existing research on financial stress and workplace performance comes from office based salaried employees in developed economies. Studies like PricewaterhouseCoopers, Employee Financial Well-being Survey, or Rosso and colleagues' review of financial stress in the workplace. But migrant service workers face a completely different stress profile. Recruitment debt, remittance obligations, limited access to formal banking, and constant job insecurity. These conditions simply don't map onto the existing office worker study. That mismatch is the core problem that this research addresses. This research connects to three UN Sustainable Development Goals: good health and well being, decent work and economic growth, and reduced inequalities. Beyond the academic contribution, the findings can inform practical employer level interventions, things like financial literacy program or partnerships with banks to improve access, and can support better organizational HR policy for a migrant heavy workforce. This study has three objectives. First, to identify the key financial stressors faced by Bangladeshi migrant workers across sectors in Selangor. Second, to examine how financial stress impacts workplace productivity and well-being. And third, to explore the coping strategies workers use to manage that stress. These maps directly onto three research questions asking what those stresses are, how they affect productivity and well-being, and what coping strategies workers adopt. The existing studies splits into two streams. Office worker research clearly links financial stress to lower productivity, engagement, and attendance. Migrant-specific research documents debt bondage and recruitment costs among Bangladeshi workers in Malaysia. And broader ASEAN studies show job insecurity heightens mental health risk. But this stream stays qualitative and health focused without quantitatively testing financial stress against productivity outcomes. No study has tested that relationship specifically for Bangladeshi migrants in a Malaysian urban service setting. That is the gap this research fills. This research is grounded in Hobfoll's conservation of resources theory, published in 1989. The theory argues that people are fundamentally motivated to protect and acquire their resources, and that the loss or even the threat of loss or value of valued resources causes psychological stress. Applied here, financial resources such as wages, savings, access to banking are what these workers stand to lose, and that loss translates directly into workplace strain. In this framework, financial stressors serve as an independent variable, workplace productivity and well-being as the dependent variable, and coping strategies as the moderating variable between the two. Based on this framework, I propose two hypotheses. First, that financial stress has a significant negative impact on workplace productivity. And second, the financial stress has a significant negative impact on overall well-being. This study follows a positivist philosophy and a deductive approach using a cross-sectional survey design. The instrument is a self-administered questionnaire in both English and Bangla, targeting at least 100 Bangladeshi migrant workers in Selangor, using convenience sampling with purposive criteria. For data analysis, I will follow a two-stage statistical approach. First is the descriptive statistics, frequency, means, standard deviations, and variances to provide the sample and summarize stress and outcome levels. Second, econometric techniques to test the two hypotheses. Since the sample size supports it, I plan to use parametric test, specifically Pearson correlation and multiple regression, to examine the relationship between financial stress productivity, and well-being, with coping strategies tested as a moderating variable. If the normality assumptions isn't met, non non-parametric alternatives will be used instead. One limitation I want to acknowledge upfront. A structured questionnaire captures financial stress at a surface level. It don't fully capture the depth, the depth or lived complexity of what these workers experience. I see that as a scope boundary of this study design, not a flaw to ignore. Thank you for watching this project proposal on the impact of financial stress on the workplace well-being and productivity of Bangladeshi migrant workers in Selangor, Malaysia. Full references are listed here for your perusal.